Did you know that hippo milk is pink? Hey YouTube, what's up? So before I get started, I just want to give a big thank you to everyone for all your comments and encouraging words last week. They were very helpful and very nice, and thank you so much for just being understanding of the fact that I just needed to take a break. But it has been a week, I've had time to recover, and I missed you guys, and I missed talking about things that really are pointless in the long run but are fun to discuss anyway. So let's talk. Oh, and before I forget guys, there's a new vlog on YouTube by someone called SoraxXxkakashi. I'll put a link in the bar, wherever it is beside me, below me, around me, or above me, but you should go check that out. It's pretty sweet. I'm in it, so yeah. I'm filming, like, come on. This is a no text or message time. And just so you guys know, I know that the white balance is terrible in this video. It's really dark outside, and my window's right there, so it affects my lighting hugely. I don't have curtains. I'm sorry, okay? It's just the way things are, okay? Okay, wow. Let's get started. Random invisible face. So I don't know how many of you guys remember, or how many of you were even subscribed to me when I made a video with James Bailey. It was a while back, and if you don't remember, here's a snippet or clip it, or whatever you want to call it. I'll also put a link in the bar, wherever it is beside me, below me, around me, or above me.
Did you know that the screwdriver was invented before the screw?
Now, I will warn you that I came about this topic with a completely random train of thought this week. So it has nothing to do with anything we've talked about in the previous weeks, or anything to do with anything else that's going on in the world right now. It's just something that popped into my head that I thought, hey, we should talk about that. People like James are sometimes considered as suffering. Actually, most of the time when we talk about people who have disabilities like James, we just say that they're suffering from a mental disability. They're suffering from a physical disability. We generally talk about them like there's something wrong with them. And yes, they have disabilities, but I just want to know why we choose the word suffering. Because I have known James for a very long time, and I have to admit, he very rarely acts like a person who's suffering. Oftentimes, he's happier than I am. In fact, he's happier than pretty much every person we bump into whenever I'm hanging out with him. He's just always in a good mood, unless something horrible happens like a dog or a cat or a family member dies. But other than that, James is usually a pretty happy and cheerful guy, and he's always looking on the bright side of things. This is what I'm trying to say here. James is in his 20s, and he still has a childlike imagination and a childlike innocence. How many people in their 20s wish that they could be like that? That they could still have the imagination and innocence and time to go outside and just play knights and castles for a while. James can still do that, and you will end up doing it with him if you hang out with him. James still has that childlike innocence where he doesn't have to worry about bills. He doesn't have to have this crazy, expensive, fancy job that he paid tons of money at a college or university to get. James is happy doing what he does and loving what he does, which is working for a home hardware convenience store. How many people can say they're happy just doing something like that? Here's my theory, and it might be a little bit harsh, and if it is, just tell me, let me know, but this is what I think. The reason our society labels people with disabilities as suffering is because we want to feel better about ourselves. We are constantly striving to look more normal. And when we say these people are suffering, we just make ourselves feel better about not having a disability and about looking good and doing this and doing that and having some sort of purpose to our life. We say they suffer because they're not like us. And if you're not normal, then whoa man, whoa, there's something wrong with you. I mean really, people with physical disabilities are really only suffering because we're trying to make them live in a world that we created for people like ourselves. A world created for normal people. Random bloodthirst face. Oh my eyes. The reason we say people with disabilities suffer is pretty much the same reason you could say a cat suffer. This is my cat, Gerald. Oh, he's a very nice cat. Yes, but it's unfortunate about how he's suffering. Your cat is suffering? Well, yes, he's a cat. People have so often said that knowledge is power and that the more we know, the happier we are. People like James don't know a whole lot. Like, they know less than me, and I don't know very much about anything at all. But people like James can still look up at the sky and stars and still be amazed and be in shock and awe about how beautiful the stars are. Whereas a lot of people just pass off the stars as, oh yeah, we've already know what those are, we already discovered them, we already know what's going on with the whole star thing. Anyway, moral of the story, in my opinion, we might label people with special needs as suffering. And to those of us attempting to fit into the world, yeah, they might seem as suffering because they're not normal like us with friends and stuff. But in reality, we're more likely to be the suffering ones than they are. We're way down with all these burdens of bills and life and jobs and stresses of school, and we're always constantly trying to impress people and fit into groups and have friends and blah 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 blah. And we fail to notice the little things like looking up at the stars and just saying, hey, those are really beautiful. But as you know, this is an opinion show, so So comment down below and make video responses and let me know what you think. And for now, it is time for everyone's favorite part of the show.
Hero of the Week!
Our hero of the week this week goes out to a YouTube user named KidJr67. If you guys remember last week we talked about imagining a world without blank, and I actually really liked the discussion it generated. Some of you still tend to make absolute statements and comments about religion and stuff like that, which you really shouldn't do. I don't mean this out of disrespect, but I don't care how much evidence or proof you have for what you believe, you still have to leave that margin of it could be not true. To ever make an absolute statement about anything is really foolish, if you ask me. Anyway, KidJr67 basically made a comment saying that, yeah, it would be nice to have a world without this, a world without that, or a world without idiots. But then he basically told us all that we were wasting our time discussing it because this is what we have, and we need to make do. We can't reverse it, we can't change it, this is just the way the world is, and we have to live in it, and we have to strive to make it better for others, and even maybe for ourselves if we're feeling selfish. And we should spend more time focusing on the things that we do have, and the good in our life that is here, because let's face it, we do have a lot of good in our lives. So thank you, KidJr67. You are Hero of the Week this week. And now for today's Shout Out! Today's shout out goes out to a YouTube user named Mr. Subby Sub Sub, who officially has the funnest name ever to say that I've ever had to say so far on shoutouts. Mr. Subby Sub Sub was the 10th person to comment on my last video. Congratulations, Mr. Subby Sub Sub. Shout out to you. Remember, if you would like a shout out on one of my videos, just be the 10th person to comment on this video, and I'll be sure to give you a shout out in the next video. And if you'd really like to comment but don't have anything to say about anything else I've already talked about so far in this video, here is a weekly Would You Rather. Would you rather have needles for leg hair or have flares shoot out of your nose every time you say the word the? Remember guys, if there's a Would You Rather or a random face that you would like to suggest or see on the show, just comment it or make a video response showing the face you want me to make or something like that, and I'll write them all down and I will do them all eventually. Anyway, that's pretty much everything I got to say for today and the rest of this week. If you'd like to check out any of my other videos, there's a button up here that you can click on and scroll through them and pick on a video that interests you. But for now, I'm iGolle, and I'm thanking you for joining me once again on Rant. Peace in!
Comment and subscribe, comment and subscribe, comment and subscribe, and maybe favorite too.